Okay, so let's talk a moment about what you'll see, hopefully, when you log into the Department of Education Web for Students. If you completed and submitted your test by the due date, which was today, of course, then you should see results. I've graded them. So each of you that completed this, even if you completed it late last night, you should see the results. That means I graded the writing activities, and you'll see your test in the results drop-down menu of My Portfolio. So you can check that. As some of you are probably finding, you may have completed it but not actually have submitted it, so do that. Some of you just didn't do it, and if so, then you can do it after this class and submit it for reduced credit. But those of you that turned it in and turned it in on time, you earned a 10 out of 10 if you did the whole thing. If you decide to skip writing, which virtually nobody did, if you did the test, generally you wrote, but if you skip the writing, you might have lost points. I would have deducted 2 points off that 10 for every writing item that you skipped. But if you did it, even if you scored horribly, you earned a 10 out of 10 completion grade, as I promised. And now you have some results that we can talk about over today and tomorrow. You should have that loaded up. Everything should be good. Mason? Yes, but it'll be a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. It's not a huge problem. During this class, though, if you've not completed the test, I do not want you completing the test during this class. And please focus on what we're focusing on. Mrs. Budis and I will be making sure that you are not completing this test during class. Okay, so to review, you have your ODE webpage up, your account. You probably saw My Portfolio, and you can see results if you'd like to see results. You also have your OAA preparation notes, and you have this document that is the OAA selections for the reading test. Open your OAA preparation notes. Jacob, can you tell me something that's in your prep notes? Yeah, something about taking an OAA test.
Read the entire selection before reading the questions.
Excellent. Read the entire selection before reading the questions. Dahlia, give me something else. In a multiple choice item, eliminate obviously incorrect answers. Very good. Garrett, give me something else. Good. Note keywords in the question and the answer. We're going to put that into practice today. Very good. Noah, something else. Eliminate obviously incorrect answers. TJ, something else. Reread portions of the text as necessary. Those are merely some of the highlights of pieces of advice. You should have that prep file open. We may add to it. We may not. It's pretty intact, but we'll definitely refer to it and put it into practice. So keep that in mind as we go. I'd like to go through all the items on the first reading selection. If you need to refer to that reading selection, you've got this file up. It's comfortable to read. You don't have the access that I have here because I have accessed as a student that has not yet submitted the test. First piece of advice that was given is to read the entire selection before answering questions. So go here and please read the first selection, the Lincoln selection. Don't read the Bird selection. Read the Lincoln selection, even though you might have done so already. Reread it, please. Okay, you should have had a moment to remind yourself of the reading selection. Hopefully you've read it before. Take a look at question number 1. The setting at the beginning of the passage is most likely intended to show that Lincoln. Mia, you've just read question number 1. What's your next step?
Go back to the passage and look for it.
Thank you very much. Some students just want to jump into the answers. Don't do that. Whenever the question refers you to something in the passage, go reread that portion of the passage. Jenna, would you mind reading the first paragraph for me?
In 1834, when Abraham Lincoln was a candidate for the legislature, he called on a certain farmer to ask for his support. He found him in the hayfield field and was urging his cause when the dinner bell sounded. The farmer invited him to dinner, but Lincoln declined politely and added, "If you will let me have the scythe while you are gone, I will go around the field a couple of times."
Excellent. Natalie, what is the setting in the beginning?
In a farm.
Very good, in a farm. And Natalie, could you give me a quick summary of that first paragraph? What's going on in it?
Well, Abraham Lincoln was interested in farmers to support him
In what? Support him in what?
in financial legislation.
Good. So Natalie has reminded herself what's going on in the story and what the setting is. She understands that first paragraph. She's reread it. Now we're ready. The options: A, prefers farm life to public office; B, feels comfortable with farmers; C, expects to return to farm life later; or D, lives a short distance from the farm. Andrew, before you give me some feedback, what am I going to do now?
Eliminate questions that are close.
Correct. Eliminate the options that are not even close. So, Andrew, get rid of one for me. C, expects to return to farm life later. Why have you gotten rid of that one? Never says anything about that. Andrew, you're doing an excellent job. Get rid of another one for me. D, why? Never tells where he lives. JC, you've got two left, A and B. Which one will you get rid of? Why? Correct. No comparison with public office and farm life. Now, JC, we're left with B, but before we can click B as the correct answer, we have to think not just negatively about what's not the answer, but affirmatively of what is the answer. What evidence do you have that he feels comfortable with farmers?
The farmer invited him for dinner, and he politely said that he was fine.
Good. He seems to have a positive relationship with this farmer, right? He seems to know how to harvest hay with this scythe, and the guy asks him to dinner, so there's everything to tell me that there's a comfortable relationship between the two of them. And we are correct. Good. These steps may seem cumbersome. They may seem time-consuming. It may seem to you like your patience can't stand taking these steps. They also almost guarantee success. And students miss large amounts of questions when they don't take these steps. So let's make sure that you're doing it. Remember that on Monday, you'll take one of these tests that will be counted as a class grade for correctness. It's no longer just 10 out of 10 for doing it. He found him in the hayfield and was urging his cause when the dinner bell sounded. The farmer invited him to dinner, but Lincoln declined politely and added, "If you will let me have the scythe while you are gone, I will mow round the field a couple of times." Let's see, Logan, this one's pretty easy. The information in these sentences suggests that a scythe is an instrument used for, what's your answer? Harvesting hay. Logan, it's very easy for a couple of reasons, but one reason is that there's a keyword match. Can you see the keyword match between the item and the answer?
Would be like field.
Nope. Field is not in your answer. Look at the two words. No, look at the two words in your answer. Your answer is D, right?
Yeah.
Harvesting hay. Where's the keyword match? What word in the answer is also in the selection? There's a word in here that is also in here. What is that word? Sorry, I know it's kind of small. TJ, help me out. Hay. Correct. Hay. Hay. TJ, the word harvesting is not in my selection, but there's another word that kind of means harvesting. What is it? Not quite. Round means where. What's the action? What's he saying he's going to do? True, but he doesn't use the word harvest, so it might be a little bit confusing. Noah, what word does he use? Mow. Mow is to cut. Harvest is to cut in a certain sense. So we have keyword matches. We're sure of our correct answer. We move on. And we are correct. We'll skip the writing for the moment. We'll come back to it. Which word best describes the relationship between Lincoln and the farmer both times they meet? Shane, get rid of an answer for me, please. Doubtful. Why not doubtful?
Because the whole time when we're reading, it's more on the lines of politeness.
Okay, so they're polite.
Means it don't say.
No, that's fine.
So,
You can say the answer. Which one do you think it is?
respect each other by being polite and not.
Is politeness positive or negative? So could you say that their relationship throughout is positive?
Yes.
Which two answers are negative? Therefore, A and B go away. A and B go away because they are obviously negative when the relationship from your reading is obviously positive. But now we have C and D, both of which are positive. Shane, why are we getting rid of D?
Because Joyce is more along the lines of jumping for joy.
That's right. There's no extreme, hey, I'm so happy to meet you, I'm going to do backflips. Nobody's doing anything like that. Respectful is the correct answer. Even if you think that immediately this is correct, what I want you to do on a real OAA and in this class is to double check everything. Think about it for a moment. Yeah, you might have said respectful is obviously it. Good, then defend your answer in your own brain. And we're correct. What does this passage suggest about Lincoln? Jimmy, get rid of one.
It's not D because he doesn't talk about himself and his career.
Good, there's no talk about his career and his popularity in there. Excellent. Andrew?
C is nothing to do with honesty in this.
Is there nothing about honesty in this?
Well, it tells them where it is.
But it's not a big focus, right? Absolutely. So there is something about honesty, but it's not a big focus. Riley, get rid of the last one and tell me what's the correct one. Okay? Very good. So he remembers the farmer. There's another piece of evidence that Lincoln's memory is sharp. What is it? What else does he remember, which is kind of surprising? True, he does remember that, but there was also one nitpicky detail. Michaela, what was it?
You remember what
The whetstone. You remember where he put the whetstone on top of the post. That's correct. There's nothing about curiousness. And we have several instances of him with his sharp memory, including paragraph 5. Do you mean to say, exclaimed the farmer, that you remember me after all these years? Memory is emphasized. We're good. If you have your results, and if those are open in a tab, and you're kind of following along with those as we do these, and you see yourself missing some, I want you to think about every red X that you see. Look at the answer that you gave, because your results should show you the one that you answered. And then ask yourself why you did that. If your answer is, I just went too fast and I didn't think about it in the way that Mr. Clarkson's thinking about it here, fine, great, you know what you need to do. On site, taking the OAA, taking the test in here, you need to slow down and practice these strategies. If you're honestly confused because you really thought something was the correct answer, please feel free to stop me and bring that up, because I'd love to help you understand how to answer these correctly every time. As president, how does Lincoln show his appreciation toward the farmer and his wife? One of the pieces of advice in your OAA preparation notes is to look at keywords. So, let's see here. Dahlia, can you tell me what key word or what really important word is in this question? I agree. Appreciation seems to be a key important word. So we have to look for a match between appreciation and these options. Which of these shows appreciation? He offers to mow the field again. He treats them as honored guests. He reveals where he put a whetstone. He invites them to a private dinner. Let's see. Samantha, can you eliminate one of those for me, please? C. Why are we getting rid of that? I agree that we should get rid of it, but why? I'm sorry? No, I want to talk about why the incorrect answer is incorrect. Samantha, let me ask you this. Does he reveal where he put the whetstone? Does he tell them where he put the whetstone? Reread your selection. Jacob, does he tell where he put the whetstone? Does that show appreciation?
No, it doesn't.
What about A and D, Jacob? What can you say about those options?
A shows that he wants to do work for them.
Did he offer to mow the field again? So it's false, right? A is outright false. C doesn't show appreciation. What about D?
He does.
D shows appreciation, but did he do it? A is false. D is false. C doesn't show appreciation. Does he treat them as honored guests? Mason, can you tell me why B is the correct answer as opposed to why the others are wrong?
Well, because like when he saw them,
Uh-huh.
like after like 45 years, he like got up, like went up, like beat it,
Private special meeting with the president. That seems like an honored guest to me. And again, it'll take a moment, but of course we are correct. Okay, should come up in a moment. There we go. And again, we are correct. Lincoln smoothed his hair back from his brows a moment in deep thought, then his face lighted up. You read that, Noah, what are you going to do? The author uses the phrase, his face lighted up, to show that Lincoln. What's your first step here? In answering this question, what do you want to do? Not yet. That's second step. There you go. Go to the selection. Can you find it, Noah? Which paragraph is this in? Everybody see if you can find it. Excellent. Paragraph 10. So, Noah, tell me, what's going on here? Why is his face lighting up? I want to go back, look at what I just did, what Noah just did. He saw that selection. He's being asked something about that sentence, so he finds it in the selection. He rereads to understand why Lincoln's face is lighting up. And then, Noah, what correct answer does that lead you to immediately? B, because this one talks about memory. We're talking about memory. Amusement doesn't match memory. Puzzlement doesn't match memory. Embarrassment doesn't match memory, but recall matches memory. And we are correct. Which theme best applies to the passage? Riley, what's my definition of theme? I'm sorry, not my definition. How would you define theme? You don't have to memorize my definition of theme, but how do you understand theme? No? We'll get you some help. Jenna, theme. What's theme in the story? A lesson learned through a story. Okay. What the story is about. The abstract idea that the story is about. There's a time for work and there's a time for play. Sometimes what you search for is in your own backyard. There's more than just one way to do something. Sometimes it is best to make do with what you have. TJ, can you get rid of one of those for me? Okay, there's no searching for anything. So TJ wants to say there's no searching going on in the story, and that's why he's getting rid of B. Somebody like to get rid of another answer for me? Well, just Andrew, just look at A, C, and D. Can you get rid of any one of those, Andrew?
C.
Why are we getting rid of D?
But there's nothing in the story.
So if you had a story where somebody was making do with what they have, what would be happening in that story, Andrew?
Like, if somebody was, like, trying to survive in the wild.
And didn't have what they needed?
Yeah.
There's nothing in the story that is a lack of something, right? Nobody's lacking anything, so D can't be correct. Somebody get rid of another one, same way. Andrew, go ahead. What else do you want to get rid of?
C.
Why are we getting rid of there is more than just one way to do something?
Because, like, in the story, it's not showing just one way to do something and another way.
We don't see people doing things in multiple ways in the story, so C's got to be gone. Jacob, you want to get rid of A? Why?
Because there's nothing really in the story to do with playing.
There's no playing in the story. So we've just gotten rid of A, B, C, and D. Which one is the correct answer and what mistake have we made? Logan?
D.
That's the correct answer?
Yeah.
Where's the searching? Because TJ said there was no searching.
Search for the one. Yeah.
Search for the whetstone? That's correct. TJ, to your credit, I don't like this item. And I'll tell you why. And by the way, I usually like OAA and OGT items. I think the tests are well written. Every once in a while, there's an item in there where I say, What's the problem with this as a theme for this selection, Jacob?
It mentions backyard.
Oh, it mentions backyard, so it's really specific. Does the what else is a problem with it, Andrew?
Well, like, it says sometimes you can search for it in your own backyard, like, he doesn't know what's in his backyard.
And we don't even know that he's been searching for it, right? TJ said there's no searching going on. The searching is almost implied. You don't even find it out till the end. It seems like such a minor part of the story. How could this be the theme? So when you look at that and you say, how could that possibly be the theme? It's not the point of the story. And TJ, when you first looked at it, you thought that. When I first looked at this, I thought, that doesn't make much sense. But then I did process of elimination. I said D is definitely not it. C is definitely not it. And there's no play, so A is definitely not it. Even though this is not a good theme, somebody did kind of look for something and did find it in their own backyard. It's not a satisfying answer, but it's the correct answer. Okay, there's the next selection. Let's go to writing. Let's see. Luke, in your OAA practice notes, what's my first step when I come across a writing prompt?
Read the point value of the item to determine on sentences.
Excellent. So how many points is this worth, Luke?
2.
Very good. So at least 2 sentences. Michaela, what's the next step?
Carefully reading the prompt to determine what each point is awarded for.
Good. I've got 2 points. I got to figure out how I determine the 2 points. How does the prompt writing make it really easy for me to determine the 2 points? This should be simple. Why is it easy for me to determine what point 1 is and point 2 is?
Because what passage says.
I'm thinking something simpler, Dahlia. You're thinking too sophisticated. How many? Yeah.
There are 2 sentences in the question.
Thank you. There are 2 sentences in the question. It's probably, not always, but it's probably the case that sentence 1 is task 1 and sentence 2 is task 2. So let's see if Jacob's correct. What are 2 distinct parts to the passage Lincoln and the Whetstone? Using information from the passage, describe how Lincoln is characterized in the 2 parts of the passage. Seems like 2 tasks. So, Shane, what do you have to do to earn that first point? Not actually. Not actually. What do you have to do to earn that first point? You want to try it again? No. No. What are two distinct parts to the passage Lincoln in the Whetstone? What's that asking me to write a sentence about? Wow, Noah. It doesn't say characteristics. Huh. Breakdown on something. Happens every once in a while. TJ. Not the two characteristics, but the two parts. All you have to do for that first sentence is tell me what the two parts are. TJ, what are the two parts of the story? If I divide the story into two parts, what are they? That's it. It's that simple. TJ's got it. The beginning is on the farm when he's campaigning, and the second part is at the White House when they meet again. I think some of you lost points on this because you weren't just reading it simply. Read it carefully. It's asking you to identify the two parts. And then, TJ, what's the second task? Careful, I don't see the word difference. Characterize is correct, but differently is not correct. There's no difference in here. I know you're thinking it's implied because of the word to, but it actually just says, how is Lincoln characterized? Task 1, two parts. Task 2, tell me what his character is like in those two parts. If somebody's asking me for characterization information, what should I be giving them? What is characterization all about? It's about building or revealing what? TJ, man, my favorite person in the world right now. Hit after hit after hit. Traits. Traits. I need a trait or traits. TJ's already given the answer to the first one. Two distinct parts. We've got past, farm, president, and White House. Can somebody give me a character trait for Lincoln that's revealed in these two parts? Well, that should be easy, right? What's he like?
He's polite.
Polite. I like that. Let's see. There. Two sentences. Each task done. First one, I've found the two parts, so point earned. Second one, there's a character trait, polite, point earned. And they're accurate, of course. Excuse me. So, done. This is the point at which you should take a look at your results. If you completed this test, you should have a window that gives you a grid. And in that grid, underneath number 3, you'll probably see some blue blocks. And then you'll see your score and a maximum score. Your score will either be a 0, a 1, or a 2. If it's full points, a 2. It's 1 point. It's partial credits, a 1. And if you didn't get it at all, it's a 0. If you want to see that, in that same window, just above, it says Print Test. Click on, or Print Results. Click on Print Results. It'll ask you to load a printer, and it'll say Add a printer, and you click Not Now. And then it'll give you a Google Cloud Print window. X out of that window. And then you should see your results in a browser window that are pretty easy to read. And when you're there, you'll see a bunch of text, including a what is expected. And then you'll see, like here, a block with your writing in it. So if you did submit the test, then find that. Find your writing. Let's take a look at how you scored. You should have 2 tabs up. Now, you have one tab with this writing and another tab with the grid. Look at the grid, see what I scored you. And remember, I'm the one that scored you on this. Computer can't do it. So if you have questions, I'm the grader. Remember what the 2 tasks are. Identify 2 parts and give me a character trait. If you lost a point, try to determine why. If you're looking at yours and saying, oh yeah, I didn't give a character trait. I just told what he did. I didn't tell what the character trait was. And you understand the problem, fine. Not a big deal. If you don't understand why you lost a point, let's bring it up. Ask me questions. Natalie, did you have a question? Okay. If you're looking at partial credit or a 0, and you answered it, and you don't know why you lost points, now is the time. I will hope that silence means you're good. Remember, on Monday, the test will be just this difficult. No more, no less. So if you're doing fine here, doing well, on Monday, most likely, you earn 22 possible points on this test. If you're, I don't know, 18 to 22, you're in pretty good shape. Good meaning, you know, A, B, C kind of range. If you're 7 out of 22, you're in crisis mode, and you got to figure something out. And I wish I had the time to meet with each one of you individually to go over your results, but I don't. So that means that the burden is on your shoulders to take a look and then ask me for help. And you can do that now if you have questions. But in the absence of that, let's stop working on the OAA for a moment unless you have any last questions about that or Monday's test. No? Okay, let's switch to talking about some other issues in class since we have about 4 minutes left, or 5 actually.